Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 1st of February, 2016, and this is episode 166, first of the month. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. How was your week? Mine was okay. I slept a lot. I slept really late all week, like 1 p.m. late. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I didn't sleep the entire time. I got up and interacted with Mara a little, but I was just very, very tired last week. I don't know. Nothing big happened, I don't think. I'm sure things happened. I just can't remember anything of note right now. So I hope your week was good and maybe more eventful than mine, but only in the good ways. This week yesterday we had the gift craft along end, and I pulled the winner this morning. It was post number 8, who is Whitney, WTJVET99, and it was her list of ideas. So Whitney, get in touch with me. I believe that I said the prize was going to be a pattern for this one, up to $5. If that's incorrect, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's what I said. And let me know which pattern you would like. What else? Oh, tube sock craft along. So that is what's going on this month and next month. It's going to be a 2-month knit along. And make some tube socks. Any size counts. Trying to decide if it should be 1 post per person, or if you make a bajillion you get more entries. I think if you make a bajillion you should get more entries. So yeah, make some tube socks. I will be making at least 1 pair in that time frame, probably 2. And I will be showing you yarn for the one I'll be making this month in a minute. Well, in several minutes, but you know. There will be a prize, and it will be a yarny prize. So this was donated by Christina. She donated this Poppy Flower Fibers yarn, and it is superwash merino. It's called Pooh Bear Redux, and it's 400 yards. It's beautiful, and I know superwash merino without nylon is not ideal for socks, but it's yarn, and I wanted to finally have a knit along where we had a prize that's yarny, so that's what it is. And yeah, tube socks. You can use my pattern, you can use my recipe, you can use any pattern. There are other tube sock patterns on Ravelry, I think. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, tube sock away, and I will look forward to seeing your finished objects and chatter. I have a bajillion finished objects and very few works in progress because it's the 1st of the month, which means I will be casting on at least 2 projects today. And I will be talking about all of that very, very soon after I talk about finished objects and things. So, finished objects. I have 4. The first one I don't have to show. It is the scarf. I finished it. I took a picture of it wrapped up together, but not one of it on a person. I gave it to the recipient, and
I dropped the yarn.
Please pick it up. And he loved it, and then the day after I gave it to him, it became 60 degrees outside instead of the 30 degrees that it had been. Yay!
Sorry.
That's probably why I slept so much.
I can't find the yarn.
Okay.
I can cut it.
Because when the weather changes, I get migraines. So yeah, that's been really fun. What is this? This little one piece. Doesn't want to stay on either side. It just wants to irritate me. It's irritating me last week. It's still irritating me this week. Anyway, he loved it, so that was exciting. Things I can show you. So I finished the little Christmas tree. This is a pattern by Helen Free. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Mine is shorter than it called for because I used the very last bit of this green scrap yarn. It is Red Heart Super Saver in the Patty colorway, and I think the pattern makes the tree 2 or 3 tiers taller, but yeah, I ran out of yarn, so I stopped. I could have attached another ball, but why? It's just a little Christmas tree for decoration, and it's adorable. I finished spinning the Mirla Fiber Arts bat. I'm sorry if Mara is bothering you in the background. She's making, I don't even know, she's cutting up paper and stuff. So this is the finished skein, and I did a 3-ply. So I took 2 plies of the fiber and spun it with this this thread, this sparkly with sequins on it thread. So it's super sparkly. It's so pretty. I think it's super duper pretty. Super fun art yarn of awesome. And it is 146 yards approximately of varying lengths, but mostly worsted to Erin. And that is close up. You can see all the sequins. I super duper love this. It is, I love it just so much. It's so fun, and I highly recommend the bat preparation from Mirla Fiber Arts. It was super fun to spin, and yeah, I like it. This has all sorts of fiber in it. There's silk and locks and a couple different types of wool and some sort of sparkle. So just everything in the kitchen sink in this, and then of course the thread with sequins. Hey Mar, can you be a little less loud, please? Thank you. I also finished the Nazki by Monica Cerna. I knit these using Leading Men Fiber Arts in the Dramaturg base, which is DK in the Darkest Hour colorway. And this is where I was last week. So I did all of this. Here's the cable detail. So there's the first one, and then, oops, my little sheepy pulled out the loop a little. It's because yesterday I finished these and then I was wearing them around with the stitch markers in them. It's not a big deal. I'll just fix that stitch and make it not loop on the outside. But anyway, I was there last week and I did all of that. So I finished both leg warmers yesterday with time to spare. It was the last project that I had to work off of my blanket, and I finished it. I would have finished it around noon. I had started the bind off before noon, and then I decided I needed a nap instead, so that didn't happen, but I did finish it with the project with hours to spare, so that's exciting. They fit very well. I did not do a size as written in the pattern. I kind of did in between. I think that my final, I think that the leg was knit on 60 stitches, and I did the increases as directed for the size up from that. I probably could have kept it at 60 stitches and not done any additional increases at the top, but it's fine. The pattern recommends using elastic thread or a piece of elastic in the top, and I will be pulling out my black elastic and putting some in the top of these leg warmers. They don't fall down terribly, but after, I don't know, about 6 hours of wear, they start falling down just a little bit. I think I made them to the recommended length. Mostly I just made it so that the stockinette portion, this part sits at the back of my heel, kind of about an inch below my ankle bone, and then this part covers my knee completely, and this is above my kneecap. So those are those leg warmers, and I really enjoy them, and I wish it wasn't 60 degrees out, but it's supposed to get cool this weekend, so I will be wearing them. And it did cool off after the sun went down last night, so I was able to wear them comfortably. I don't like you. Can you just... No, just, it's going to be in my face. I should get a bobby pin, but it's like 20 feet away. Works in progress. I don't have very many. I mean, I do. I obviously have all those whips that I want to work on a little bit this year, but I didn't actively work on much. I did work on the blanket yesterday, the one for Grammy. I did, I don't know, probably 3 rounds on it. Feels like it's never, ever, ever going to get any bigger because the rounds are so long. They're not that bad. They're probably, I don't know, between 500 and 600 stitches per round. So it's not that much. It just feels like a lot. And in addition to that, so the blanket is crocheted. I'm winging it. It's worked with a size J crochet hook, Karen Simply Soft, in the Autumn Red colorway. The other thing that I worked on, and I haven't shown you in a really long time, is the Len Jerry by Sarah Burkhart Abram. And it is this long. And the reason why I didn't show it to you is because I did the first, just very beginning, and then my needles got ripped out. So I set it aside for about a week, and then I tried to put my needles back in. Well, it's lace on both sides. So I just couldn't pick up the stitches correctly. So I ripped it out completely. And then I set it aside. And then I picked it up and did that whole beginning section in less than an hour. And then I started working on it a little bit. So this pattern, let me show you first. Sorry, my sunlight just went, but hopefully you'll still be able to see kind of. So it's lace on both sides for the edging. But the center panels are not, for the most part. There is a little bit, it's not, there aren't any, there's not a lot of lace on both sides on the center panel. It's mostly pearl rose back for the center, but there are beads, so that's interesting. And it doesn't, the pattern doesn't have placement for the beads. They're randomly placed. So I'm trying to randomly place them in a way that looks nice. Just a little bit tricky fish. The other thing about this pattern, so it's lovely, the yarn is lovely. I'm knitting this as a sample for Leading Men Fiber Arts. I'm using their Ghostlight base, which is the lace, and the colorway is called Fishbowl. It's beautiful, and you can't even see the lace because, let's see if you can see it better like this, kind of. So it's just really, really lovely, but this pattern is not, I would say, not a beginner pattern. It is charted, and the first little bit is 1 chart, and then you work 3 charts per row for the next section, and now I'm up to 5 charts per row, and those 5 charts are on 3 different pages. So I guess if you had Knit Companion or something like that, it would all just be together, but I don't. I'm working off of the paper pattern, and it's 3 separate pages per row, so it's kind of a lot to juggle. I can't work on it if I am super distracted, because obviously it's a shop sample, so I can't fudge it if I make a mistake. I need to just make it correctly. I have currently 2, 4, 6, 7 stitch markers in it, and I will be increasing that number as I go along. So yay, that! It's not an enjoyable knit, but not because there's anything wrong with it. It's just still I'm lacking brain power, but more than I had, obviously, which is why I'm able to work on it. I really like lace, so I'm thinking it'll become more enjoyable once I get out of this funk that I'm in. And the pattern is well written. It's intense. It's not a beginner pattern. And you have to be comfortable juggling a little bit, which I am for the most part. I think it'll be really, really lovely when it's finished. I'm super looking forward to seeing the finished object because it's a very, very beautiful shawl. It's just my brain power is lacking, which is why it's taken me so long. I've had this yarn for way too long. It's ridiculous how long I've had this yarn, really. I did 1 square on my mitered square blanket. This square is actually 2 different yarns striped together. They are the yarns from Christina, and I striped them because the pinky one doesn't really have a lot of green or blue, not enough that I would put it in this blanket by itself. So I striped it with the green yarn because obviously that had enough green in it, and I have made in my mitered square blanket, sock yarn blanket that Mara has claimed as her own, I had done a few of these where I striped the yarns, and I really, really like the effect. So that's what I did there. And it is lovely. So that's square number 15. I made barn raising square number 59 using the green yarn from Christina. And I made 8 hex puffs this week. I did 4 celebratory ones. So here's one. This is a hex puff where you start in the center, work your way out so it kind of looks like a bullseye, and then work your way back in on the other side. And it looks more hexagonal, I don't know. It looks more like a hexagon once it's in the blanket and those points are stitched out. I've made a few of these type. I enjoy them, but they're more fiddly than just regular hex puffs. This is 3 different yarns. The blue on the bottom portion is 2 strands of, I think it's Madeline Tosh, the lace weight. It's leftovers from the Reese sweater that Josh made me. Well, that he made himself, but that I got. This is 716 knit solo base. I don't remember what the colorway is. It is what I made that sample knit for Lisa out of, her shawl, that I don't remember the name of. Sorry. But it's in my project page. It's the only orange shawl on there. And it's got kind of a heart motif on the edge. And then this is, I think it's Nothing Says Screw You Like a Rainbow or something like that. It's just the very leftover scrappy bit from that. These are several scrappy pieces of yarn. One down here, one here, one here, and then 2 up here toward the very last 2 rounds. That one's not a celebratory. Where are my other 2 celebratory? I don't know. Here's one. This is leftover Josh yarn. It's sport or DK weight. It is not fingering weight. I don't remember where this red came from, but also celebratory. And then I have that red and yarn from Carrie. right there, and then 2 more in the leftover Josh yarns. So yay, 8 hexapuffs. That brings me up to 466, getting close to a quarter-ish of the number that I need. Kind of. It's a lot. It's a lot to make. So I have ideas for upcoming projects. Oh, really quick, I drew for what work in progress I'll be working on this week, and this month rather, and that will be Mandy's sweater. It's the Eyelet V cardigan. And then the season that I'll be crafting for this month is spring. Update on that. So the Merla bat was my work in progress that I wanted to work on, so that finished. So I have one less on my list to work on. And then I finished that Christmas ornament, that tree, and I worked a little bit on the advent calendar, but I didn't get that section finished. So now I'm trying to decide if I want to finish that section, even though it's out of the month now, or if I just want to call it quits. So I'm not sure. Call it quits until next time. I'm not sure. It would probably only take me another 40-ish minutes to finish that strip, so I don't know. We'll see. But officially starting spring today. I don't know what I'm going to make for it, but I'm going to do something. I wrote down ideas. I'll figure it out. So, upcoming projects this month. There are 6 on the blanket, and none of them are started yet. I will be spinning Christina's fiber, going for a worsted weight spin. I don't know how I'm spinning it yet. I sent Christina a message this morning right before I started recording, so there will probably be a message for me this afternoon or evening telling me what she would like, and I will start that immediately, because why not? I am planning on making a baby blanket. One of my friends is expecting. That's super exciting. Karen Simply Soft in, what color is this? Dark Sage. Because babies get all sorts of really light colored blankets, and then they get all sorts of junk on them. So I think that darker colored blankets work better for car seats and stuff like that. Personally, having dropped a bajillion blankets on the ground when they were supposed to be on the car seat, I don't want to do one that has like a buckle hole, just because that limits it to only a car seat. And I'm kind of thinking of making that undercover blanket pattern that I did for that square, even though you kind of need to block it out and it's in acrylic. It still looked nice when it wasn't blocked, it was just ruffly. So I'm debating on that. I will not be starting that today because I need to think about it for a few more days. I will be starting a pair of socks today for sure. This is going to be Gabriel's Christmas sock yarn, and also an entry into the Rainbow Along because it's got all the colors. You can't see all the colors, but it's got all of them in there to varying degrees. And what is this? This is Color Me Twisted, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, in the Where's the Kaboom colorway. And Haley gave this to me at last year's ZK, or maybe the year before, I can't remember. Gabriel picked it out, and he will be getting tube socks, but he wants his socks with a separate big toe. So yeah, I'll be doing that. Exciting, right? I just need to do a little math to figure that out. It should be fine. I can make it up, it'll be okay. I'll definitely be starting those today so that I have something for work knitting that is not just hexapuffs. I'm going to take hexapuffs too, but sometimes, you know, you can only make so many hexapuffs before you want to go crawl in a corner and not do fun things. I will be, let's see, I will be making ZK socks for Josh out of this. This is Pagewood Farms Denali sock. It's superwash merino nylon 80/20 in the colorway Marine Girl. And my plan is to make the my zombie boyfriend socks out of them. I thought it was fitting. It is a cabled pattern, and it's been a little while since I've made a cable-y pattern for Josh. I don't know, a few months. I really like cables, okay? I'm working on this crazy lace. I need some cables in my life. This is White Birch Fiber Arts in the I Eats Me Spinach. It is 80/20. It is a self-striping, and I will be making raptor socks for myself out of this. This is what was in the pink tetrahedron bag. So that is happening. And then I will be using this yarn, which, where did my ball band go? It doesn't matter. It's Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock yarn in the Rosalind Franklin's Overexposed Photo colorway. And as far as I know, he is no longer dying, which makes me so, so sad. So I will be using this skein of yarn to make the, I think they're called Josie socks by Jenna Meyer, but I might be making that up. And this will be for 2 knit-alongs from Sassy Pants Knitter, the Knit Yo Balls, because it has been in this form forever. If you've been checking if you read my show notes on my blog, there's a work in progress section, and then there's a hibernating section of works in progress underneath, just so I know that they're there, even though I haven't worked on them. And the Josie socks by Jenna Meyer have been on there forever. I tested the pattern, but I was working on the wrong needles for the pattern. I can't remember if I was using bamboo or metal, but either way it wasn't giving me a gauge that I liked for a sock. So I ripped it out with the intent of making it. So I'm going to, using this yarn. So that's going to be for the Knit Yo Balls, because it's February, and February is red or pink in this. Even though it's not a lot of pink, it's still kind of a lot of pink. And it's also the Don't Hoard Your Precious, because he's not dying anymore, and I have this skein and then the skein right here, and that's all I have left of his yarn. And I really, really like what he dyes. It's gorgeous speckle stuff, but you know, life goes on. He had to move on with his dyeing. I could be wrong, he could be dying, but I haven't seen an update from him in a while. Yeah, those are my plans. So yeah, new cast-ons, all sorts of things to see next week, because I'm sure I will have started at least 4 of those. I also have some new things. So I finished the scarf, and I had extra yarn left over of the big twist. I had 1 skein of each, because I bought 6 skeins total to make the scarf, because honestly, I haven't made a scarf in a really long time. And I couldn't remember how much yarn, how much bulky yarn I would need to make an appropriate length scarf. So I had 2 extra skeins, and I returned them to Joann's, and my Joann's is finally carrying sock yarn again. So I bought 4 skeins of Premier Serenity sock yarn in the charcoal colorway, because that is what I will be using for the border for my mitered square blanket when I get there. But it was on sale, and I was like, well, I don't know how many skeins I'm going to need. 4 sounds like a good number to start with. I can go back and pick up more sock yarn later. I didn't want to spend all of the dollars on sock yarn that I didn't need immediately. But I did have the return credit, so it was only a few dollars out of pocket. But yeah, I got that. And then I also received from Lisa a pattern, and it was kind of a selfish pattern on her part, because she would like me to make them for her, and I said I totally would someday, eventually. So this is what they look like. I can't pronounce the pattern name, but I will put it at the bottom of the screen. They are Colorwork socks in Aran weight, and they're really, really lovely. There was a modification on Facebook for colors, and instead of making flowers, there are snowflake motifs. So I will be looking into that someday. And then what I'm reading is still Kushil's Chosen, and my book fell apart last week and I fixed it, and then Gabriel came home from school and picked it up and cracked the spine again. And Mara has used all of my packing tape, so I need to get more packing tape so I can fix it. I am further than halfway through, and I love it so much. So I did not remember this book as much as I remember the first book. I remember a lot of the things that happened in the first book. So I remember the big things that happen in this book, but a lot less detail, which is so interesting. I mean, there were a lot of details in the first book of the trilogy that I didn't remember, but this one, there are so many more details that I didn't remember, and I just have like a vague idea of what's coming next. I'm really excited. The part that I'm reading right now, I got to a part where I actually have zero idea of what's happening. I don't remember it at all, which is kind of exciting because I love the books, but it's kind of nice to not know what's coming. Like the big event that I remembered from the book already happened, and I'm only about halfway through. So, a little more than halfway. I love these books so much. It's the Kushil trilogy. The first one by Jacqueline Carey is what I'm reading. I'm on book 2. The first one was Kushil's Dart, the second one's Kushil's Chosen, and the third one is Kushil's Avatar, which I will be reading next. Which is strange for me because I don't usually read series one after the other, but I just really want to read these books right now. And if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do, because why not? Anyway, I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I need to go do something about this hair because it's crazy. I will see you next week. Bye.